Tonight on Grady Newsource, a violent armed robbery. This afternoon, police released a sketch of the suspect who robbed two UGA students and shot one of them.
I talked to students about what they saw and how they feel after those two students were robbed this morning. They say they feel like Athens is generally a safe place, and their thoughts are with the student who is currently in the hospital.
Plus, the aftermath of Northeast Georgia's severe weather.
I'm on Smoky Hollow Road, and coming up, I'll tell you about the damage in Jackson County and surrounding areas from Friday's storm.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College at the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening and welcome to Grady Newsource. I'm Luke Gamble.
And I'm Sydney Heiberger. Thanks for joining us.
Our top story tonight, a gunman robs two UGA students, shooting one of them. That student is in an Athens hospital. The gunman has not been arrested. The shooting happened on South Millage Avenue just before 7:30 this morning. Hours later, police released a sketch of the suspect. Grady Newsource reporter Majesty Bass is there to begin our live team coverage.
This is an active investigation with the gunman still on the run. The student was found bleeding right here. We have his name, but we are not releasing it just yet.
I want to allow the investigation to run its course and us to do our job to try to figure out who's responsible for this and bring that individual to justice.
Athens-Clarke County Police responded to a shooting call at a bus stop early this morning on South Millage Avenue near Riverbend Road. On their way to the scene, they received another call of an armed robbery near the same location. When officers arrived at the bus stop, they found a 22-year-old UGA student. He had been shot. They immediately administered first aid.
They are life-threatening injuries, and it was multiple gunshots.
The student was rushed to a local hospital with life-threatening injuries. The second student was not injured. Police say after talking to witnesses, it appears one gunman was responsible for the bus stop shooting and the nearby armed robbery.
Tell people to be cognizant of the fact that, things like this do happen.
Let's take another look at the suspect. Police was seen driving an early 2000 model Ford Mustang convertible. It is white with a convertible roof. Athens police say they are increasing patrols in the area, and they ask you to call them if you have any information. Reporting from South Millage Avenue, I'm Majesty Bass.
Student was rushed to an area hospital. We are not identifying that hospital at this time. Grady Newsource reporter Sarah Hammond is live at the Athens-Clarke County Police Department. Sarah, you've been talking to members of the community about their safety concerns and about the victim?
Yeah, Sydney. A source close to the victim says that he's been with the family at the hospital all day, and he says right now the prognosis looks good. He said the victim was responsive at the scene before he was sedated. So I spent the day talking to students and investigators about the safety of the area where the crime actually happened.
There's not really too much activity that goes around here, but to see something like this happen, it worries me.
Earlier today, South Millage Avenue was flooded with police. Students like Malik Frazier, who lives in the area, say after hearing what happened to the student, he's worried for his own safety.
So what's going to happen in the future? Like what happens from here on out? Like, is it going to be safe? Do I need to move? That type of thing.
Zach Hendricks says the two gunshots woke him up this morning at around 7:17. Hendricks says he and his roommate walked out of their apartment this morning and saw the student lying on the ground in front of the bus stop. He says it wasn't long before investigators came to their door and asked what they saw.
So I came outside to my porch, and I saw a male laying down, and I was really alarmed. So then next thing you know, hear sirens. There was at least 50 cops, investigators, fire department, hospital, ambulances, people were everywhere.
Athens-Clarke County, State Police, and the Georgia Bureau of Investigation say they are all searching for the suspect. But Special Agent in charge of the GBI, Mike Ayers, says people should not panic.
I would just tell the public to please, not be overly alarmed, but to certainly be cognizant of the fact that this did happen in Athens today, and to to be cautious, but not to be overly alarmed.
Now, police have not released the name of the student who was injured or of the other student who was robbed but was not injured. Reporting from police headquarters, I'm Sarah Hammond.
Today's robberies are the 4th and 5th violent crimes in the same area off South Millage in the last 8 days. Grady Newsource digital producer Vera Hallam is live in the newsroom where she's been looking into the numbers.
The crime statistics page on the Athens-Clarke County Police website links to crime reports data. These reports showed 3 previous assaults in the last 8 days in the same area as the 2 armed robberies this morning. An assault with a deadly weapon took place at the park at Athens Lakeside neighborhood last Saturday around midnight. 3 days later, 2 simple assaults took place on Wednesday, April 17th on Veneta Drive at 4 and 9 p.m. Both complexes are off-campus apartments. Crime reports indicates that there have been 30 incidents in the same area, ranging from theft and assault to breaking and entering. Many of those incidents took place in or around Athens Lakeside neighborhood. Athens Police Chief Cleveland Spruill said he's not aware of any uptick in crime in the area, but that they will be looking back for any pattern crimes. As we confirm new information about the students robbed this morning, we'll post updates on our Grady Newsource website and social platforms. Reporting from the newsroom, I'm Vera Hallam.
The remnants of this weekend's storms are still visible around northeast Georgia.
Grady Newsource reporter Brittany Paris found damage in Jackson County on roads and in a park.
The storm caused flooding and damage in parts of Athens, Clarke County, Barrow County, and Jackson County. I spoke with Ricky Sanders with Jackson County's Department of Parks and Recreation.
Because we have a lot of rivers that run through the county, so where you have major water areas, that's where the damage was.
The heavy rain flooded one of the county's most popular parks.
The really only part we had damaged or actually affected was Hurricane Shells Park. Obviously, the North Oconee River runs right through the middle of it. So with the flooding of historical portions, we had trash cans, picnic tables, a lot of limbs down.
Hurricane Shoals Park was closed Saturday as a safety precaution, but opened back up yesterday. Sanders says the park's historic mill doesn't appear to be damaged, but it might take some time before things return to normal.
It'll take a couple of weeks to get it actually back to where we want it. But the main thing is make sure it's safe for the public to use, and we're doing that right now.
But the parks were not the only places affected in Jackson. Many roads are closed or partially blocked off. A car like the one that I'm driving can easily manipulate through these broken up roads, but the problem really comes with the school buses.
So they're having to reroute buses. Some bus routes have been canceled until the roads reopens. But some of this damage is, and you've seen some of it, is extensive.
Sanders says he thinks it might take weeks before the roads are completely restored. Reporting from Jackson County, I'm Brittany Paris.
Good news, our weekend storms knocked down the pollen count. Grady Newsource reporter Christina Evans is live outside our studio, and she's feeling a bit better about the pollen. Christina?
Say that someone who suffers with pollen allergies like this pollen season has been pretty rough. Let's go ahead and look at our pollen charts. You can see that we're sitting at a 9.1 out of 12 on the scale today. We can definitely thank that rain that came through this weekend for bringing down our pollen count. So we're going to stay at this level or just a little bit above until Friday when we drop down to a 7.6 on the scale. And that's because scattered thunderstorms are going to be moving through the area Thursday overnight into Friday morning. But I'll have this and the rest of your weather for the upcoming week in about 15 minutes. Christina Evans, Grady Newsource.
Coming up on Grady Newsource, I'll tell you why these signs were posted all around North Campus and the impact that they've made so far.
Hi, I'm Peter, and there's nothing I love more than sharing vegetables with my friends. Come on in, help yourself to anything. That's why we give our food the utmost respect it deserves. Did you know there are simple steps we can all take to help save food? You can cook it, store it, even share it. Just don't waste it. Because when it comes to food, better ate than never. To learn more, visit SaveTheFood.com.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Attention travelers. Next Tuesday, a major power outage will cause complete chaos throughout the city. Food, water, and phone service will be in short supply. There will likely be panic citywide. Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
Groups at Tate Plaza today were planting seeds and growing minds this Earth Day. Students can come celebrate the planet as well as learn new ways to treat it right. Justin Moore with Speak Out for Species told Grady Newsource one of the ways to save the planet is to check your diet.
Eating a more sustainable diet, a plant-based one, is very important because it allows us to have a future here on Earth, and it eliminates a lot of suffering for the animals so that we can have an Earth to live here and where all species are living happily.
On Earth Day, it's also worth noting that it's better to take your graduation photo without confetti. UGA's Office of Sustainability says plastic confetti can be damaging to the environment.
Michael Heath is responsible for cleaning out the fountain on North Campus. He finds lots of plastic confetti this time of year.
But 2 weeks ago, that field was covered with it, like it was almost planted to grow confetti out there.
Cecile Riker of the Athens-Clarke County Storm Management Program says confetti thrown on campus can have damaging effects beyond the walls of the university.
The rain can pick up that plastic and carry it into our stormwater system, so it potentially can be carrying that plastic into our water as well.
Jordan Meeker of the UGA Office of Sustainability says her office is the brains behind these signs that were posted all around North Campus to combat the issue.
With the wind, it'll also, blow around. It can go into local streams and stuff, and animals might think it's food, so it's definitely not great for North Campus.
Heath has noticed a difference since these signs went up.
I think the signs have been up maybe a week, maybe a little bit over a week, and I've seen a little bit of difference in it already.
An even better alternative to confetti is crushed up leaves or even sprinkles.
While getting that perfect graduation shot feels good, Jordan Meeker knows it's even more important to protect the world we live in.
We have to take care of the environment so we can take care of ourselves and live in a healthy world.
The Office of Sustainability suggests using biodegradable confetti alternatives like flower petals, bird seeds, or DIY vanishing confetti. You can find the recipe on their website.
I'm Danny Terzer with your Northeast Georgia Sports. Athens Twilight has turned Athens into something of a cycling mecca. It's a 40-year-old tradition that kicks off again this weekend.
It's the enthusiasm. It's just a different atmosphere. And I think that's one reason why bike riders want to come here. They want to race here. And more importantly, they want to win here.
We do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at feedingamerica.org.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
strawberries?
Okay. I'm Danny Terzer with your UGA Sports. The women's tennis historic undefeated season came to a close on the big stage. The team traveled to College Station, Texas this past weekend to compete in the SEC Championship. It came down to the final where the top-seeded Georgia team took on the second-seeded South Carolina team. Georgia fell 4-3 after winning just 2 of 6 single matches and 2 of 3 doubles matches. Freshman Meg Kowalski lost her first match of the season 6-4, 6-3. In a matchup between Georgia's #1 ranked Jokic and South Carolina's #4 ranked Martins, Martins took the third set to win the match. A loss this weekend doesn't mean the Bulldogs season has ended. The NCAA tournament starts up in 2 weeks. The UGA baseball team completed their 5th series sweep of the season, this time hosting the Missouri Tigers. Here's a look at the series breakdown. Game 1 on Thursday night, the Dogs shut out the Tigers 3-0. Sophomore Emerson Hancock was on the mound for the Dogs. He pitched 8 scoreless innings with 11 strikeouts. In Game 2, the Tigers' bats were hotter, but it still wasn't enough. Georgia defeated Missouri 5-2. But the highlight in this game came in the first inning. The Bulldogs turned their first triple play since 1963. Not to mention they took a 4-0 lead after 1. The Bulldogs capped off the sweep with a 4-2 win on Saturday afternoon. They held Missouri to just 1 hit through 9 innings. The Bulldogs are now ranked 4th in the country. They head to Atlanta on Tuesday to play Georgia Tech at SunTrust Park. For 40 years, Athens Twilight has been bringing the community and riders across the country and the world to downtown streets. But what isn't so visible to spectators and riders is the effort that goes into making the event happen and the history of how it got to where it is now.
In the beginning, it was a few people that really thought it would work.
In 1980, at EuroRap in downtown Athens, the idea of the Athens Twilight Cycling Race was born. Gene Dixon, a founder of the event, said that it came at a good time. With a new mall opening, stores were moving out of downtown. It was time to revive city life. What started with 40 riders now brings 200 professional cyclists, men and women, from around the country and across the world. Police record about 15,000 to 20,000 spectators on average each year that come out and fill these sidewalks. That's in addition to the 30,000 on average that watch the live stream each year. It was the quality of those riders 40 years ago, rather than the quantity, that led to success. The winners of the inaugural year went on to win Olympic silver medals. It's always been a sought-after accomplishment.
It doesn't matter where you come from, you want to win Athens. And that's how it's been since the very beginning.
And Athens is all in.
I really think it's the community that gets behind it. It's people that live here and that love the event that makes it so big.
A staff of just 3 people work full-time year-round to make Athens Twilight a success. Another 200-plus volunteers help out. It's much more than a women's and men's pro criterium. There's an outdoor concert, 5K run, BMX show, and more throughout this 2-day event.
Would I do it again? I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Athens Twilight is part of a national series of races called the USA Crits that happen all across the country. Planning for Twilight begins the day after the event is over.
I'm Christina Evans, and I'll be here with your Grady Newsource weather just to take a look at what you have coming up tomorrow, as well as your 5-day forecast for the rest of the week.
Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Is the seat supposed to be forward-facing or rear-facing? Did they move to a booster seat too soon? It may be too late to check when you're on the road. Fortunately, you're on the couch. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Don't think you know. Know you know.
I'm a single mother, and I was the main one working, so I never thought that I could go back to school, you know? My sister, my mother, everybody wanted to help me with my kids. I could not have gotten my diploma without my family.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
It's a beautiful day out here. Sunny today with light breezes, giving way to clouds in the afternoon. We could see some light precipitation to moderate precipitation later on, followed by powerful storm-like conditions. 90-mile-per-hour winds are expected. Authorities are asking everyone, stay indoors. Come on, that's it. Let's go.
And now, the weather.
Happy Monday. My name is Christina Evans, and I'm here with your Grady Newsource weather. So we're going to take a look at our day planner, our high temperatures for the week, and take a look at our 5-day forecast so you can know what's coming up towards you this week. So today we're going to start off with our temperatures tomorrow getting about 61 degrees in the morning. They'll reach to a 77 during the noon hours, and then by 3 p.m. it'll warm up to our high of 84 degrees. So we're looking at our temperatures overnight dropping down to about 54 degrees here in Athens, and then overnight temperatures tomorrow, we'll see our high be about 84 degrees in Athens. Our 5-day forecast is looking pretty good weather for the rest of the week. We will see sunny skies for today and tomorrow, and Wednesday we'll see a little bit of clouds, but Thursday night is really when you're going to get your first chance of rain, but that's going to go mostly into Friday when there's a 50% chance of thunderstorms on Friday. So as long as you bring your umbrella and your rain jacket, you should be okay because our temperatures will still be warm. And I'm Christina Evans, and this has been your Grady Newsource weather.
Coming up, a volunteer firefighter talks about what motivates him.
It's just a great community to live in and to be able to do this.
What to expect when you're expecting
Like here.
a teenager.
Today, I'm going to show you how to team-proof your home. First step, hide the car keys, preferably somewhere they would never look. Challenges will come up. Be ready for them. Hi, honey.
I'm ready for the... Mom, you don't use mannequins in the mannequin challenge.
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Wait. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where do cats go on vacation? New York.
Did you know parking over tall, dry grass can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When accidents and medical emergencies happen, first responders can mean the difference between life and death. I met a volunteer firefighter who sees his work as a calling. When Michael Gabriel makes this walk every day, he knows he could be putting his own life at risk. Gabriel has been a volunteer firefighter for 26 years. He serves as the fire chief in Winterville, Georgia, where he was born and raised.
I think the biggest thing for me is the fact that this is the community I grew up in, so I'm able to give back to that community. That's what keeps me motivated as far as being a firefighter up here.
Gabriel's life is about more than fighting fires. He works in his family business at Athens Steel from 7:30 to 4 every day before going to the fire station. He keeps his radio on while working his day job and sometimes has to answer emergency calls.
My radio never leaves my side 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Gabriel doesn't get paid for his service, and he isn't alone. 55% of active firefighting personnel are volunteer firefighters. It takes a special breed to be a volunteer. Gabriel's most rewarding experience was rescuing a family from a burning house in the middle of the night. But he said every time he helps someone, it makes his job worthwhile.
It's a great feeling because you feel like you made an impact on their life. You turned a bad day into a better day for them. What was a bad time for them turned out a little better than expected.
Gabriel sees his fair share of heartbreak, but he said the good outweighs the bad. He even said he gets to rescue a few puppies every now and then. He plans to continue working as a volunteer firefighter for as long as he is physically able.
Yeah, that's interesting about the puppies, Luke. Usually you hear about firefighters rescuing cats, not so much puppies, but that's all for our show tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Sydney Heiberger.
And I'm Luke Gamble. Have a good night.
Grady Newsource is a student production of the Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Georgia, which is solely responsible for its contents. Views expressed do not represent those of the administration nor the Board of Regents at the University System of Georgia.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but one of the teachers was Miss Araceli. She gave me direction. Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll sit there with you until you get it. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Is your family in need of more quality time together?
Hello, I'm Dr. Spruce. Nature is best enjoyed together. So bring the whole family to discover all the bonding and stress-reducing benefits parks and forests have to offer. Visit discovertheforest.org and trade in phone time for family time.
Birds, squirrels, chipmunks, grass, worms, bugs, trees, rocks, and other objects in nature cannot talk. If you'd like to have a conversation while visiting nature, you will need to bring humans along. We strongly recommend starting with your family.
Na 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 na, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Welcome to Monday's Post Show. My name is Sarah Berberlini. I was the senior production manager today. Our director today was Lucia. Oh, wow. It's her last show directing, so it's kind of sad.
Just a little bit. Oh, words now?
Yeah, words.
As Bert said, my name is Lucia. You probably recognize me because I am also an SPM. But on top of being an SPM, I'm sort of like retiring from Newsource, so I had to direct a last show, and I chose to because I love to direct. But I thought the show was quite clean, if I do say so myself. And there was a lot of go off. Thank you. I really enjoyed it. I really liked directing. It was nice to stretch that muscle for, I guess, kind of the last time. But everyone did a really good job. The anchors did really, really well. Thank you to the crew, especially thank you to audio as always, because that tends to be the hardest job. And you made the show well-rounded in all of its perfection, so thank you for that. But yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was nice. Woo!
Almost makes it sound like you're never coming back. She's gonna be here Wednesday. It's her last just directing. Switched. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Great. Thanks. I'm not gonna have her. Oh, okay. All right. Bye. Okay. Yeah, I think it was a really clean show. And it was a really fun show in the sense of we had some complicated stuff, some live shots, and OTS. Wow. Yeah, so that was fun to punch, 4 live shots. That was really exciting. I don't really have a lot. On our end, the weather damage package didn't automatically play. TriCaster has some kinks. It happens. We know it happens, and it just decided to do it on that package, which is lovely. But Lucia was able to catch it quickly, and it wasn't a big issue.
Which one was that? I'm sorry.
The weather damage package.
Oh,
I don't know what
right.
number.
Okay.
Basically, it didn't play automatically, so you
Yeah.
saw like the trees for like a
I did
second
hear that.
longer than
Mhm.
you probably should have. But it's
Okay.
not a big deal. And then I noticed that the sports stinger didn't get edited in, which is probably why Wyatt then declared, he's like, I'm 10 seconds late. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, probably because you're calculating that stinger in there. I've already texted the person who was editing, so they are aware. Otherwise, the only things I have were the confusion we had with who was editing the B-Block tees today. But we've already discussed that, we figured it out. And re-editing pre-tees and sports, not ideal. We can do it. I would rather us not have to go back in the studio at like 4:20. But it is doable. So my only advice is that if you're saying people's names, try to learn how to say them correctly. Because I'm not going to be able to catch that stuff. I don't know anything about sports. So, and a lot of people on our end don't. So, just FYI. Cool? Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay, Wyatt, you were our producer today.
Yeah, I got a few notes here. Just wanted to say, just for everybody, like I thought it was a really good show, and I think a lot of that was because we kept the like chaos at the end of the day to a minimum. Like almost everybody's packages were in by like 4:15, 4:20, which is maybe the best we've done all semester. I'm not sure, but it's pretty close. And then I wanted to specifically shout out Brittany, who was supposed to be assignment editor, but for being able and willing to go out and do that story about the like the road damage and stuff. Like I thought it turned out really well, and like I'm glad we did that as a story. And then Luke and Sydney both killed it anchoring. Like we were kind of looking for some way to fill like 10 extra seconds before the end of the show, and then Sydney just did it like it was nothing. So that was really good.
With her charming giggle.
Oh yeah, it was so natural. Like it was really good. And then just another shout out, I know Bert talked about it, but just thank you again to production for helping fix like the little things like a mispronunciation and then having to go back for pre-tees. Like you said, it's not ideal, but like, yeah, so, but for Wednesday, we're gonna get it all done right the first time. But yeah, so good job today, guys.
Thanks, Luke. I mean, Wyatt. Good God. No, I really didn't. Hi, Vera. So Vera was our digital producer. You want to?
I was the digital producer today. Okay. I do have a mic. It's clipped on me. Okay. I think honestly, from Donovan and then my end, I think it went really well for digital today. Just everything that we were working on producing the digital story to get that out in a timely manner. But then Donovan's still like producing social updates on everything that happened with the students in the robbery this morning, but then also trying to push out other stories as well and keep it well-rounded, because I think that's something that may get lost sometimes in digital. If we get zoned in on like the big thing of the day, that we don't always remain super well-rounded in our coverage digital-wise. But I think especially he did such a great job like producing like Earth Day graphics and making sure the other stories were like getting updated as well. So I think honestly it went really well. So thank you to everyone who continued to like communicate, because I know how hard that is sometimes, like when you're just trying to get your package done and have everything in on time, and it gets harder to like communicate with social, but being able to tell the story on the platform, on the digital platform, was really good today, I think. So
Okay.
yeah.
Donovan, did you want to add something? Thank you, Vera.
Yes, I think social went fairly well today. I guess Wednesday we can try more. Of course, we had breaking news at the top of our day when we first walked in. I think, again, we don't want to talk about what we don't do, but again, remember to send things back, elements. We're in our last 2 shows now, so what are some ways that we can really innovate the social space and the digital space? I think we can all put our heads together to figure out how is the best way we can leverage our audience to do that in our story. So that's all I have to say.
Well, I think one option would be, like when you're on the scene of breaking news, to send back stand-ups from that scene, right? Look lives.
Yeah, look live.
I don't know that we got any of those on. But
And one thing that went really well first day was the headliner video. So obviously caption video is working really well on our platforms. That's the way that people seem to be going. So if there's any opportunity for you to do caption video, if you're out, let's try to do that. Headliner is really easy to use. So.
yeah, I think that one thing we tried doing, or we did a little bit of one night last semester when Donald Trump Jr. was here and his contingent of people, as we did look lives from the scene of all these people. So I think that's always an option. If we have a big breaking story on Wednesday, or even a story that's interesting, maybe you just get yourself on camera, send that back. So, all right, Maddie, you're our assignment editor, and you help with the package with Majesty, huh? Associate producer. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right. Brittany, you were assignment editor to start the day, then you went out, and you were associate producer.
Yeah, I thought it was like a kind of crazy but fun day. I think it's fun in the fact that we did have breaking news, and we sent Majesty and Sarah out right away and followed the story throughout the whole day and kept it updated and tried to be the first one to get information. And I appreciate Donovan that all the updates went out on social pretty quickly. And just going through, just props to Sarah Majesty for getting out there and doing a good job of covering the story. I know that can be difficult. And then Vera, just always your digital queen. I think you did a great job. And Donovan, y'all are a good team together. Brittany, obviously we appreciate it so much. I thought your story was really well shot. Like, I enjoyed watching it, and the footage I think is important to see. So thank you again for that.
Thank you for sending me road locations. I was like driving around, I'm like, there's no damage in this whole city. You're like, try this road, and then I pull off to like a neighborhood. I'm like, oh, here's the damage.
Yeah, we just
didn't look like anything from where I was driving.
Yeah, we worked together for sure, just trying to find something to get footage of, but it ended up you found a decent amount of footage, so that was good. Sydney, I enjoyed your package, and Vera getting out there and filming the Earth Day stuff. It was appreciated. Danny, I really enjoyed your package. I just thought it was entertaining. I liked the Twilight package. And Luke, your package was really well shot. We were all saying it in the control room, just nice and clean. And the guy's thoughts were great, and he was just a cute man. So I enjoyed the package. And then Christina, good job on weather. I think the only thing we said was in that tease, because we did it again last week, standing in front of the 5-day forecast in the tease, we don't want to do that because it's like what everybody tunes in to see at the very end of your weather. Because like if you show it in the tease, they don't really care to like stick around and watch the entire weather, but that's just a minor thing that we can.
So for Wednesday,
I think
just
we're
don't
switching,
stand in
but
front of the 5-day.
Maddie and I will be switching.
Yeah, I'm going to be doing weather
So
on
she
Wednesday,
won't
but
do
I'll
it.
remember.
Oh, okay.
But I like the pollen thing, what you did with my graphic. It looked a lot better than my graphic. I did notice
I
that.
just had extra time, so I was like, oh, let's see what we can do. I'm gonna make this Christina. Because I didn't want to just, because we talked about it, I was like, I don't want to just use Maddie's and like use all her work.
No, yeah, I thought it looked way better than mine, and it was animated, so props to that. And then I thought the anchors did really well. Y'all were good together, and the energy was great, and the ad lib at the end, like we said, was natural and fun, honestly. So yeah, good job. And the OTS, and what was that in? Yeah, something new, adds visuals. So yeah, good job.
Good, thank you. Did you want to add something, Vera?
One more thing, like something else that we could do that I think would translate really well from both broadcast and digital is doing more video with natural sound. That's just like something that I know I always keep forgetting to do, but I just keep thinking about Sarah's package with the animals. And I think that package with the animals and just hearing that just like makes it go so much farther. And so that's like something that we can keep in mind for Wednesday as well.
Okay, great. So, we had a really big story today on this shooting. We really didn't know what we had when we came in here. We just knew there was, we didn't know students were involved, right? We just knew there was a shooting and that there was a scene. And so Majesty, I think you were the first one in, one of the first ones in. And so it was great to have you grab that gear that Jim had ready and you headed out to that scene. And then Sarah followed. And I think, that's the way we want to operate, is we want to swarm this big story and just see, first we were sort of thinking, oh, there's a story about the police shooting from the weekend, but it really sort of felt like this is more than one reporter. When you have a student shot, this is the biggest breaking news we've had up here, in the past 9 months, frankly. And so it's a huge deal, and it'll be a big story on Wednesday also. We had the name of the student. We didn't release it because it didn't come from police, and there's too much downside to releasing a name and getting it wrong. If you get it wrong, or family doesn't know, someone out there doesn't know. There's a reason, most likely, that police are not releasing the name. So I know that, Channel 2 and the newspaper were both released the name. We had the name along, I think about 1 o'clock or so. We were looking at him up. So, that's the way we roll, and I tend to be a little more conservative and cautious, and so we didn't release the name. We also didn't identify the hospital. I had a little concern about his safety. But once we said in Majesty, in your lead-in, we're not identifying the student, then when we came to you and you said we're not identifying the hospital, I felt like, well, what are we telling people? We're just telling them what we're not. So we probably could have left out about the hospital at that point. You weren't there anyway. You were at the police department. Thought we did a really good job. Now we tweaked the package a little bit to get more of the good video up high. We stole a little bit from your package, Sarah. Because you really want, that's a visual story. So we started out with the sound bite with the cops, but we covered the very beginning of it with some pictures, and then we found some other, we just wanted more of the flashing police lights, the response in your package, so we tweaked it a little. But I thought it was a good team effort. You can grab a mic if you want. It was a good...
Well, she doesn't get to see it.
Oh, yeah, I just don't know what you're talking about.
Some of the B-roll we went in and replaced with some of
Sarah's footage, just because Sarah had a lot of police car flashing lights, so we just took some of Sarah's and replaced it with just like the shots of like the outside of the apartment complex and the car driving out of the neighborhood. We just replaced a few of the shots with some more police car action.
So it wasn't like a lot.
No,
okay.
We didn't change
but it
the
doesn't
script
take
or
a lot
anything.
to make it a little better, right? Because if you're showing street signs and empty streets, to say where the location is okay. But we just need a little bit more that gives the feeling of what it was like this morning when all those police were there, right? That it was a big scene. And that's what I was trying to get. And we had the time, frankly, to make it look a little better. One thing that happened, and I don't know how well you two communicated with one another, is we had the same soundbite at the end of your package and your package. Same guy.
From the GBI.
Was it the same thing that he said, or was it was just the same guy?
Well, I asked Donovan to look at it. I think it was the exact.
They will ended him saying we want you to be cautious.
I mean,
It said,
we were
like,
both
these
there at the
things
same time. I
happen.
mean, I wasn't talking to her, I was editing, so I
But
guess
but you guys, whenever you do team coverage, someone has to sort of be the boss who's coordinating everything and making sure if you two are both on the same, you're talking, making sure I'm going to use this, you can have a little of that, that kind of thing. So you just got to communicate. But what I'd like to do is, I think we did a really nice job, and I think with Vera, her digital hit with the crime stats, and I thought together it was a really nice package. Kudos to all three of you. What I'd like to do is take a minute, have Sarah, have you and Majesty come up here where the camera can just come on up here for a second, and just talk about what it was like being out there and covering that scene. Speak to your experience.
You can go first.
Okay, so we got there and we saw, I came up one way and it was just like police cars everywhere, fire trucks, ambulances, so I had to go all the way around to get to the other side to park and walk up. We couldn't get very close, so we were like way far away for a long time. And then finally they were like, no, you can go up to it now. So we did for like 30 seconds. They're like, get out. And so we had to like run all the way back to the cones. And
so
then,
that's your chance to get your tight shots,
yeah,
your
we
medium
got,
Well, I
shots.
did, but we didn't want to use it, the one that I had.
Oh, yeah.
So.
You're talking
a
about the
little
blood?
brutal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't want to use the blood.
Right. But we got to get close, and then they finally cleared out. And well,
Hours later, we were probably there for like hour and a half, and they just kept like, it felt like they were giving us a runaround, but like we both know like they just wanted to make sure they had the right information to tell us fully. So just like waiting on the police chief and the GBI person just come like give us something, because I know everyone here was like asking us this, and that. We're like, we really
know nothing.
don't know, like we don't know anything. So just like that was a little bit of frustration, not be able to get the information out as quickly as we wanted to.
Right. And then they finally came up and talked to us, and then everybody cleared out. So then we got to go closer to like the bus stop where it happened, and then like WSB and 11 Alive showed up. We were all like knocking on doors, and people kept like walking up. So I had like people like sound bites just like falling into my lap because people kept being like, "What's going on?" And I'd like explain. They'd be like, "Wait." And I was like, "Do you want to talk about it?" They're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, great." So I don't know. That was nice.
Yeah.
To have people just want to talk to me for once in my life.
That's good. Yeah, the opposite thing happened to me the last time I covered a shooting. Nobody wanted to talk about it. So I'm glad that someone wanted to talk to you.
Okay.
But yeah.
Did you learn anything going out there today? I mean,
Oh yeah, I went to the, once we like found out the name of the hospital, Danny and Vera told me that they knew.
but don't say it.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, they knew some people upstairs who were with the victim, and so I got in touch with one of them who I talked about it in my lead, that he said, you know, he's like, he might be okay. Anyway, he told me some information, and he let me quote him on it, but he wouldn't come downstairs to let me talk to him on camera because like he sounded distressed on the phone, and he just didn't. And I was like, no, it's fine. Like I understand, because he said he was really close to the victim. But so then I came back here and.
Okay, so you just had to watch your time, right?
Right.
And
That
both
was
of
what
you
was
and-
making me the most nervous, like all day, was when they weren't like coming to talk to us, like right off the bat. We had to like wait for Jeff to get there and then like learn all the information and then come talk to us. So that was making us nervous. But it ended up, and we got it by like 11.
we were gonna be fine just
yeah.
because I didn't even get in the door to pitch anything. So I was
Right.
like, I mean, time is just not something I'm worried about. But
Well, I think
also,
the other thing is that 17 or
Right.
something in the morning. Imagine if it had happened at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
That would've been-
That
and we're
would've been worse.
scrambling. That would have been hard.
Yeah.
So it worked time-wise in our favor at
Yeah.
least. So I would encourage all of you to think about what is the follow-up story. I'm sure, you know, by Wednesday we'll be reporting the name also, but then we're going to want to get
His
you know,
condition.
family or friends, or you know, hear from the university, or you know, other people. So be thinking about that and putting out, you know, feelers. But I thought y'all did a nice job. Sarah, I thought the audio was a little hot on yours. I don't know if it was like that just in the control room or
On my SOTs,
package. Yeah, that first guy.
because that was when the chopper was ahead of us.
So talk about that. So Channel 2's chopper was
Channel
overhead
2's
during
chopper came as the GBI agent.
as soon as
they
came
walked
up.
up, the chopper was like
that was terrible.
so loud, and so and everything we got right then, you can hear the chopper really badly in the background, and then of course it went away as soon as everything else went away. So yes, Luke.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone, whoever was there for Channel 2, didn't call back to their station and say, "Can you move the chopper back? We can't."
Well, they weren't there when.
They were asking for like whatever footage they were getting to do like a VO or something. So they weren't asking them to leave when I was around them.
No, I just mean the chopper. I'm sure it was drowning out.
I have a question
for
just out of
everybody.
curiosity. How did y'all get the sound from the interview? Like, did y'all have like a handheld mic, or did
Wait,
y'all,
which the police
like
chief?
from the police or whoever?
She mic'd
yeah.
him up with one mic.
Oh, so they just let y'all like put a
Yeah,
like, pin a mic
we
on
were
it?
the only two there, plus like a girl from the Red and Black, I think.
Uh-huh.
And we were the only three there at that point. WSB and 11 Alive didn't come till like the scene was cleared.
I was just curious.
So.
Are you talking about for the press conference or like when the choppers were there?
Oh.
Outside.
Yeah,
okay.
Oh, I
she
see.
just mic'd
So
him
their
up.
reporters didn't show up until after their
Until
chopper.
after everyone
Right,
was
yeah,
gone.
everyone
Gotcha.
was gone.
Which is, and I was gonna say, because if the chopper was up, they were probably just getting that first look footage.
Right,
then.
exactly.
Right.
So that's why it didn't affect anybody else but you
Right.
guys.
But us.
But you're going to have to contend with that in the field.
Right.
That's what happens, you know. And
I was thankful
Right.
for the press conference, and thank you to you, Donovan, for coming to help me out with
Yeah.
that, because he
Yeah.
basically said the same thing.
the
and
1
then-
o'clock event.
Yeah, so that was really helpful.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it was much better sound. So, okay. Well, thank you. I thought y'all did a really good job. So
Thank you.
kudos. All right, so I think I was glad we did the weather damage today, Brittany, that you went out, and I appreciate your going out. You know, you were supposed to be the assignment editor, which you started your day doing that. On that one interview, he didn't seem like he was white balanced. Did you notice how?
It's the weirdest thing. My lighting on my camera looked normal, and then when I brought it back here, he was like blown out a little bit too white. But I fixed my white balance when I edited here, and I fixed like the brightness. Honestly, like he just has really similar skin tone to myself, and we're just super, super pale. And like I tried putting lights on in there, like I have a light kit, everything. I don't know. It was weird. But like when I shot on my iPhone of him, also to see if my lighting was weird, it was my camera. So I don't really know what the issue was, but like it was. I know it was just weird.
And I think you had some really good pictures to work with. I would have liked to have seen more of them before we showed the map. Yeah. You know, because you just had really, maps are kind of boring television.
The map was because he talked about how there's a river that runs through it.
Yeah.
And I didn't have any video of the river, but I guess what you mean. I could have flipped them.
Maps just don't make great TV. Christine, I thought your first weather, where are you? There you are. You did fine. You had nice energy. You made it personal about your allergies, so that was
I just
good.
think, so the girl that I was working with in the field who was shooting my live shot, she was really, really helpful. So we had originally actually moved so that way I was in the sun, because if you watch it back, my whole face is in shade. So, I mean, I don't know.
But then you moved.
Well, yeah, because we were told to move again. So we were set up originally in the original spot. It looked dark. It looked dark to both of us. So then we moved in the sun, and it looked great on the camera, but then they told us to move back. And when we moved back, and I just watched it back on there, and it looked kind of like how I thought it was going to look like, with me just in a lot of shade on the face. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I thought you looked good. I mean, I'll look at it again.
It was dark. Like,
I'll look again.
That happened to me for first weather, and if they throw up a reflector, it blocks that sun, and then it just lights up your whole.
Yeah. It just didn't, I mean, I just think that the sun would have looked better like on the skin, so that way you look more visually appealing.
Okay. I thought this, one thing we did well today, all of our teases had sound in them, which was great. I mean, we've come a long way. Used to not even get video into teases, and now we're using sound in all the teases. We had 3 pre-show. We had, I think, 2 sound bites because we had problems with one of the stand-up teases, but it worked out fine. And the only thing I would say about yours, Brittany, is you weren't looking at your camera, you were looking off, so I just wish we had covered it.
That until I came home, and that's so
But all you needed to do was start it.
This is now home.
Right, right. This is your home. You will not leave. I think what would have been fine is if you had just started on camera for 2 seconds and then B-rolled the rest.
Yeah,
it would have been perfect. But I thought the pre-tease felt like we were really on the big stories, so it was good. And then all those teases that followed had sound, and that was good. Danny, I thought your Twilight piece was really well done. I don't know where you got all that video of, the contemporary video of the race. Where did that come from? You want to grab a mic? I know you got old video, but that newer video.
I actually had it from a previous that I shot from
Oh, good for
previous
you.
year.
Knowing you would be doing this.
Yeah. Well, I did it I was hesitant to do the story at all because I had already kind of done a story for it. That's why I had all that video, and that's why I kind of decided to take a different angle and do this of more a behind the scenes history than so that it was something different for me to do, because then it was less boring. But yeah, I had some of the.
But even though you've done it before, who knows who's seen that? And
right. And it's honestly completely different. I did a profile on one of the athletes when I did it before, and this time I was more how it was planned and where it started and stuff. So.
Okay. Well, I thought it was really well shot, and I thought the interview looked great with that woman. It was just really framed nicely and lit nicely, and it looked really good. All right, we talked about the weather. I thought the weather was good, Christine. I thought you did fine. I just would have liked to have seen more of you. You sort of disappeared when you were talking about those temps, kind of like Majesty did, I guess it was the week before, walking off too soon. We just want to see you,
Yeah, I was going to reshoot it too. That's what I told Wyatt, though. As soon as I finished.
It was the one. We
That was
ultimately
the
used the
one?
1 minute.
Oh no, I did something weird in both.
Which we always, I think we've used 1 minute weather almost every newscast, it seems like, Maybe we've used 2 minute weathers occasionally. I don't think we've ever had to use a 3 minute weather or had the need for it.
We did when I was weather.
We used your 3 minute weather, really?
Yeah, that was like the first week of class, and we used my
okay.
3 minute, and I was like, this is the longest weather I've ever seen in my life.
Well, thank you for not using my 3 minute.
Well, you may be forgetting Wyatt's weather appearance, which I felt was the longest ever. But he's going into producing, which is fantastic. One thing I'll just repeat it here that I said to Wyatt and to Madison is just if you end up producing someday, Brittany, you want to be facing your newscast that's on the air and paying attention to what's happening in front of you and not trying to sort of gab and entertain the people around you in the control room and see who can be funniest. You got to pay attention, and all these people who have worked all day on these packages deserve your attention to make sure they make sense and that they're running correctly and everything. So it's tempting to just come out of the control room after a show is over and be like, I don't even know what it was on. I don't even remember seeing anything. So anyway, watch your newscast. The volunteer firefighter I thought was a really nice story. I thought it was just really well shot. I thought the video was really good. You had a nice mixture of different shots. I think, we had talked a little bit about, with Luke, about, he's talking about the most memorable thing this firefighter had ever responded to, and it was he saved a family in a burning house. But of course we didn't have that video, but he had a shot of him fighting a fire. So we were trying to figure out, how, could we use that over that picture? We really couldn't. But in the next line, he said something, but all of the fire, I can't remember what the line was. And there we used that picture, that really good picture.
I'm really glad that you asked me that question because it made me think about the puppies thing, and that's the only reason I knew to talk about puppies at the end of the show.
What do you mean?
Because you asked me what is one of the most memorable
about
things,
the dogs,
and I was like,
yeah.
well, he did say that they rescued a lot of puppies.
Yeah. Right.
And if you wouldn't have asked me that question, I would have never remembered that, in the moment.
But that was different from, the whole thing with the picture. Yeah, well, we were struggling to come up with a tag. I think that's where that came up with, and that he had rescued so many dogs. But I thought it was it was good. And I can't remember. Did you have a stand-up? I'm trying to remember now. You didn't have a stand-up. Okay. Well, sometimes the profiles don't lend themselves to stand-ups, so because you're more focused on one person. So anyway, so we have 1 day left. This was really a good job. I think I'll go back 2 days left, one more today, and then this week and then next week. Yeah, two newscasts left. So I think today we just were on hyper speed in terms of our adrenaline and getting that story covered, and everything got in way early. So it was just fantastic. And I think what Maddie did, Majesty, by sort of helping get ahead on that script with you a little bit, is what we used to do all the time. We would send in a reporter to site of storm damage in Florida, or to Southeast Georgia, Savannah, or to some place where they really weren't going to have time to get a package together. They'd barely get to the scene. And so we would write the package back in the newsroom, and then they would track it, and then we would edit it back in the newsroom, and they'd be standing there live and have a whole package together, because we have video off the feeds. So it's not an uncommon thing to do, is just to team up, when you're pressed for time. And you were pressed because you had to go to that 1 o'clock event. So I thought it worked out well. Anyway, so what do we have, 25 seconds left? All right, so we have the pizza party next Monday, right? And I'll send out a note about that tonight, and I hope as many of you will come as possible along with the crew.
Alrighty, and with that, that's the end of this post show. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys again on Wednesday for our second to last show. Have a good night, everybody. Also, shout out to Jill, who came today. Love you.